Hello everyone, welcome to Gardening TLC. How many of you are going to plant fall bulbs this year? I know I am. I am so excited about my bulbs this year. It's not normally a chore that I love to do, but I'm excited about the planting this year. I got my hands on some exclusive bulbs that were developed by the Netherlands Bulb Company and proven winners that are only available in independent garden centers this year. We will be giving some of them away today, and if you don't win one, you can buy one because I am opening my Shopify today. Also, if you want to know how to get bulbs in the ground, stay tuned. This video is for you. 10 steps to getting those bulbs in the ground to give you that great spring show, plus some expert tips along the way. So come on, let's go garden. Welcome everyone. My name is Michelle and I live in Northern Illinois, Zone 5. If this is your first time here, welcome to my garden. I'm so glad that you decided to join me. If you want to learn about gardening, that's what we do here. We tour other people's gardens and get inspired. We plant in my garden, other gardens. It's just a really good time. If you like our videos, subscribe below, leave your comments and questions, and make sure that you share with your friends. Let's talk a little bit about the Shopify page. It really exclusively will be only for my Gardening TLC YouTube channel, where if there are things that I'm doing in my garden, tools that I'm using, items that I'm using, things that I get my hands on that I want to share with you guys, or things that I create in the store that we want to make available for sale, we're going to put them on the Shopify page. There's never going to be a gazillion of anything. It's always going to be limited runs of things that I use, that I love, and that I want to carry in the store. So periodically we'll have videos about things that will be in the shop available, or I'll tell you about things that are in the shop that are available, but it's not going to be like the primary thing that I talk about in my channel. My channel is still going to be about gardening, but I'm really excited about these bulbs that I got my hands on. We're selling them in the store, but I also thought that I would make them available for you guys as well. Stay tuned to the end because you're going to want to hear what you can do after the video so that you have a chance to win some of these bulbs that you can plant in your own garden. These bulbs are available right now. So if you order them on Shopify, they are going to ship out right away. Now, for those of you that live outside the continental 48 states, I'm really sorry. I can only ship in the United States in the continental 48. So sorry about that, but that's where I have to stay as I kind of learn how to navigate, how to do all of that. I put a QR code right here and there is a link in the description below. So if this is something that you want to do to get bulbs, go ahead and order those. There are limited numbers. I think they're going to go pretty fast. I didn't go crazy and order a whole bunch because I really didn't know what to expect. All right, let's jump into planting bulbs. Planting your bulbs in the fall is really a great way to get that show in the spring. In the spring, when everything is waking up, bulbs are what's coming out of the ground and giving you that spectacular look in your garden. Face it, after a long, hard winter, you're ready for that. So let's go over 10 steps that will help you be successful getting your bulbs into the ground. Step number 1, pick your bulbs. So whether you're ordering bulbs from me or you're buying them at a box store, a garden center, or you're ordering them from a catalog, you want to make sure that the bulbs you choose are firm, they don't put off an odor, they look good, they shouldn't be mushy in any way, shape, or form, and they should look healthy. I am going to go over my varieties that are available in the Shopify store. I'm going to do it very quickly. I have 6 tulips and 1 combo of daffodils and tulips together. I chose the ones that I thought were the most unique and the ones that I wanted to plant in my garden. Again, there's not a lot of them, so hopefully if you do want these, you get in on that action. The first 5 that I'm going to talk about are tulips. They grow in zone 2 through 8. And they are late bloomers. So the first one, look at this, is a tulip bastia. Isn't this great? This is a fully double flower. It's got like that gold yellow color with that mahogany red undertone and then those fringed leaves. This one grows 16 to 18 inches tall. Our next one is a red, and this one is a parrot tulip. And look at the green and yellow underside. This is also a double. It's gonna grow 12 to 14 inches. And when you're looking for some bold color in the garden, a little bit of movement, this is the Rococo double. Absolutely gorgeous. I am definitely planting these in my garden. I cannot wait to put this in the ground. Another stunner in the garden is the blue wow. Now these kind of have that peony look to them. They are definitely wow. These flowers are like 4 inches across. They really are a double. This one gets 14 to 16 inches high. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh my goodness. Another stunner in the garden will be the vanilla coupe. Look at this thing. That is gorgeous. It is a double, 14 to 16 inches high, and I'm pairing that one up. Let me grab it. I'm pairing that one up with this one. Those two together in my garden, those are going to be outstanding. I like Darwin tulips too, and I like it when they're two-tone. So we have two different ones that we'll be offering. One is called True Love. This one is 18 to 20 inches tall. It's got that beautiful hot pink with that green. Pairs up with a lot of different things in the garden. And then we've got a shorter one called Rem's Favorite. This one is only 14 to 16 inches tall. That beautiful dark lavender with that creamy white. Both of them are Darwin tulips. They will be beautiful in the garden. Now the True Love actually is a little bit smaller of a tulip, the actual tulip itself. So this package comes with 15 tulips. Every other tulip package comes with 10. Last on the list is the Fire and Ice collection, which is a mix of tulips and daffodils. You get 8 tulips and 6 daffodils. The tulip is called Helmar, and it's a yellow Darwin tulip. And then look at the red petals in there that look like flames coming out the outside and on the bottom. Absolutely stunning. Then you've got the daffodil that goes with it, and it's a creamy white daffodil with a yellow center. It's called geranium. These grow anywhere from 14 to 20 inches high, and again, this is going to be a mid-season bloomer. Absolutely beautiful. So that's everything that's in my Shopify store. Let's move on to learning how to get them in the ground so that we have success in the spring and we have the glorious show that we're looking for. Number 2, pick the perfect spot. Bulbs love sunlight, and they need it to be able to re-energize their bulbs for the next year. Now, as you can see, I have a mixed bed here where I have some shade and some sun. Now, I could certainly plant bulbs in this shade area because when they come up, the leaves aren't on the trees. But the leaves do come out on the trees when the bulbs are re-energizing themselves for the following year. Now, if I wanted to plant them in this area, I probably could, but I'd probably have to treat them as annuals. If I really want to have great success, I need to choose a site that has 6 hours or more of sun. That way, when the bulbs are done blooming and the foliage is left and it's dying back, but it needs the sun to re-energize the bulb, I have all of the requirements met because it's in 6 hours or more of sun. I have picked my perfect site. Now I need to prep my soil. That is step number 3. I deal with heavy clay, and bulbs want great draining soil. If they don't have that and water pools up around them, they just rot. So therefore, you might have to prep your soil, add amendments to get what you need for your bulbs. I went and picked up a bag of compost, and I dug my hole out, and I dug it to about a depth of 10 inches. You can go 10 to 12 inches. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the compost to the hole. And that way I have this nice little nest of wonderful things for my bulbs. This will give my bulbs the healthy foundation that they need. Number 4 is making sure you plant your bulb at the proper height. The rule of thumb, no matter what bulb you're planting, is for however high your bulb is, the depth that you plant it at is 2 to 3 times the height. So if you have a 2-inch bulb, which is what a lot of tulips are, I'm going to plant this 4 to 5 inches into the ground. That way I make sure it's got the proper winter protection that it needs, and it's got enough space above it so that it can grow, create all the roots that it needs, and that gives me a great chance of success. These are your roots. This is your grow point. Pointy side up, grow up to the sky. That's number 5. I have made sure that my depth is 5 inches. Now I'm ready to plant my bulbs. And that is number 6. Make sure you space them out. Give each bulb enough space to grow by planting them 3 to 6 inches apart. You want to make sure that when they come up in the spring, they've got plenty of room to grow. This prevents overcrowding, and it allows each bulb to get the nutrients that it needs too. All right, here's my pro tip number 1. Whether you want neat rows or you're going to go for a more natural look, have a design in mind before you plant. It helps to know which bulbs bloom first, and it also helps to know what heights you're working with. I like to plant in groupings like this so that they come up and they're very impactful in the garden. But I also always know when they're going to come up, and I know how high they're going to be. Number 7 is fertilizing your bulbs. You want to get a little bit of root development going, and then you want to make sure they have enough food to get through the winter and that they have a charge to get going in the spring. The second time you should fertilize your bulbs is in the spring when you start to see new growth emerge. And then the last time you fertilize your bulbs is when all of the flowers are done and the bulbs are getting ready to re-energize. You can fertilize them again at that time so that they've got enough energy to store until the following year. Now, you can use organic fertilizers or you can use a synthetic. Now, organic fertilizers will be like Biotone. You could also use Bulb Tone, and a lot of people like bone meal. Now, all of these are organics. You can put them right in the hole. You might need like a 1/4 cup for that hole that I dug. Put it right in there. I just mix it up just a little bit, and then I fill everything in. Now, if I'm going to use a synthetic fertilizer, I like to use a balanced fertilizer like a 10-10-10. I will also make sure I do not put that in the hole because that can burn your bulbs. After I fill everything back in, I will sprinkle that on the top based on what the bag is telling me. Usually it's only like a tablespoon because synthetic is a lot stronger than an organic. But I'm going to sprinkle that on the top, not put it in the hole. I do have my Biotone in, and now I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of this bone meal, and then I'm just going to cover it up. Now, when I cover it up, I'm going to use the compost, but I'm also going to use some of this native soil as well. So I'm going to have a mix of both of them going into the hole. If I get big clumps like this, I will break them up. If you have had the pleasure of squirrels coming along and digging up your tulip bulbs, half eating them, squirreling them away, or just throwing them all over your lawn and then you got to plant them all over again, then step number 8 is for you, and that will be to protect your bulbs. And we're going to do that with chicken wire. I have filled in my hole, and now what I'm going to do is take my chicken wire and I'm going to place it on the hole where I have the tulip bulbs. I'm going to use a couple landscape staples. And then I'm going to cover it up with dirt. This will protect my bulbs, but it also allows them to grow up through the chicken wire. Mulching is key. A layer of mulch about 2 to 3 inches thick will insulate your bulbs from extreme winter temperatures. They also help keep the weeds at bay. It's like tucking your bulbs into bed for the winter. Pro tip number 3, mark your bulbs. Just get a little stick like this. What I did was I marked what they are. On the back side, I wrote tulips, and I wrote an M, and the M signifies that they're a mid-season bloomer. That way I remember where I put them, because I am doing some other planting this fall, and I don't want to dig them back up. Number 10, water them in. This helps settle them into the soil, and it gives the roots a kickstart to get going before we go into winter. Don't worry, you guys, squirrels don't like all bulbs. They just really like tulips. So if you're looking for a bulb that the squirrels won't get at all, try alliums or daffodils. They really don't like them. They don't find them attractive, and they pretty much will leave those alone. Now, I usually plant my bulbs towards the end of October, and they go in the ground. I'm in zone 5, and I get a cold winter. Bulbs have to go through what's called stratification, or a chilling period. Usually that chilling period is anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks depending on the bulb. Now, if you are in the lower zones like 7 and below and you don't really get that cold in the winter, well, guess what? You got to fake it. That means you need to chill your bulbs, usually October, November, December, January, somewhere in that period, in a refrigerator so that you have that stratification going on for your bulbs. Then once you can get that done, you can take them outside and plant them in the ground, and then they'll come up in the spring just like ours do, and you'll have your beautiful show of all of your spring bulbs. I have one more pro tip for you guys, and that is strategically place your bulbs someplace where something else will grow up and hide the foliage as it's dying back. Because that's one of the things with bulbs that you can't do if you're going to treat it as a bulb that you want to come back. You got to let that foliage die naturally back. Takes anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, and it's ugly. So I always look for places in my garden while everything is full grown right now for places to put my bulbs. Let me give you an example. One of the things that I like to do is walk around the garden and look for strategic places where I can put my bulbs. Now, one of the things that I like to do is look for things that are going to grow up in the spring that are going to hide the foliage of any of the bulbs as they're dying back. So look at this beautiful patch of hostas that I have here. Okay, so it's on the tail end of being done. But in the spring, all of my daffodil bulbs were in here, and as the hostas grew up, it hid the foliage, and I didn't have to cut them back, and I didn't have to look at the ugly yellowing foliage. So for me, it's a great strategic way to get the bulbs in the ground. I have another place too. This is a Nepeta. It's a Walker's Locatmint, and I have this planted in here. I cut it back already, so it's on its second flush. In the spring, this comes up. It's a fairly large plant. I also have red tulips in here. Now, tulip foliage can be kind of wide and strappy, but I don't see any of that foliage once this comes in, because this is one of the earlier perennials that comes up in the spring, so it hides all of the foliage. And those are the ones that you're looking for, are those ones that come up pretty thick, pretty heavy, and pretty early. And the last thing you can do, and I do this with less expensive bulbs, is, for example, I have this patch of zinnias here and I love it. All of these are going to get pulled because they're annuals. So in place of them, I'm probably going to put some bulbs in, and then I'll treat them as annuals and pull them up when they're done blooming. All right, who wants some bulbs? Well, here's how you do it. I'm going to have 7 winners because I'm going to give away 7 packages of the bulbs that are in my Shopify store. No, you can't pick out the one you want. You're just going to get whichever one I send you. Now, how do you do that? Well, you leave a comment below, and in that comment, you got to use the word tulips. On Tuesday, October 1st, I will draw 7 winners. I'll probably do this in the morning. I'm in Central Standard Time, so I'm guessing I'll probably do it like around 9 o'clock. I will post that on the community board of my page, but I will also notify the winners that leave the comments underneath this video. That way, you know that you won, and then you contact me, and then I will ship your bulbs out, and you will have some beauties to put into the garden. There's a lot of scammers out there, you guys, so just know I will not contact you via email. I will not contact you in any way outside of answering your comment on this video and then the list on the community board. So don't get taken. Once again, here is the QR code if you want to go check out my Shopify store. Right now, all that's in it is bulbs, and I will notify you if I add more things to it and when I add more things to it. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you learned some things about getting your bulbs in the ground. And if you've never thought about planting bulbs, maybe this is the year to try it. Don't forget, Garden Gab is the first and third Saturdays of the month. It's where we answer all of your questions from the previous videos, but we also share viewer submission pictures of the hard work and the beautiful things in your garden. If you would like to share something in your garden, send it to the email below. I would like one picture of the month that we're in, and right now you could do September or October because we're pretty close to October, and you could just wait a little bit and then send it. I want to know who you are, what zone you live in, where you live, and what we're looking at. We love to be inspired by looking at other people's gardens. At least I do, and I always get all kinds of ideas, and typically you guys knock it out of the ballpark. So I'm Michelle. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you get in your garden today. It deserves some TLC. Don't forget, so do you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.